Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery in our video studio today, and we are excited to bring to you the new Lynx Hinge release from the folks at STAN. STAN releases, they put out some excellent quality releases used for target archery and hunting. This one here, the Lynx, this is their latest offering. This is going to be a hinge or back tension. Either one of those, they're interchangeable terms. What it means is there is no trigger on this release. One of the cool things I want to talk to you about is, so this is a hinge. This is a high quality hinge release that currently, as I'm making this video, is going to be available for $200 in the aluminum version. There's two versions of this, aluminum, heavy metal. I have the aluminum here. It's also going to be available in 4 sizes: small, medium, large, extra large. I have the large right here. But this release, as you see it, is $200, and you're going to get basically everything you need with this release. So you can see I have one thumb barrel on it already and one extension piece. You're going to get another thumb barrel, another extension piece. I have one 2-sided moon in here. The moon that I have installed, I'll talk about that in a bit, has the fast click and the slow click. You are going to get another moon as well that's going to have no click and the medium click. You're going to get the training lock that inserts into the head of the release there so that you can use this for training you can use it on your bow for training purposes and you won't be firing your bow. So, you know, if you're at home and you just want to draw back your bow and practice with it, you can do it with the training lock and you won't be shooting your bow. You're also going to get, so this has the thumb post installed. I know it looks like a trigger. This is not a trigger, it's just a thumb peg for drawing back. If you decide you don't want it, you can take that whole assembly off, and then you're going to get a plug that will go into the back side of the release just to make that more aesthetically nice. And then you're going to get the wrenches, the 2 wrenches that you're going to need for making all the adjustments on this release. So the release is going to come as in a 3-finger orientation, but also in the pack, you're going to get an extension that you would just swap out right here. And so if you prefer to shoot these releases as a 4-finger release, you will get that piece as well in the box to swap it out. So you can shoot it, actually you can shoot it 2-finger, 3-finger, or 4-finger if you want. So you get everything in the pack that you're going to need for this release. You're not buying extra parts to modify this. So that, I think, is killer feature right there. And again, $200. That's the current price for this release, which is just incredible. Now, let's talk about the release itself, because we got some new things here from STAN. So this is, as we mentioned, this is a hinge, which means the whole handle has to rotate in order for the release to fire. And you know, it does have the closed finger. A lot of people like that style release, just a more secure feeling. You know, when you have these releases, you're not going to drop it. It's hooked around your finger there. And it just gives you a different feel when you're drawing the bow. When you have that extra material over there, it's just a different feel. But one of the cool things about this is that it is oval shaped. That hole there for your index finger is oval shaped, and that is for a very particular reason. When you go to draw it back, the way it's designed, as I mentioned, you can take this thumb post off. So you can do a standard draw where you put your thumb on the thumb post and help get leverage for drawing the bow back. You can do that, or the geometry of this handle is such that you don't really need this thumb post. I mean, you can take it off. But to do that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your knuckle deeper into the release to draw back. Right now you can see I'm not using that thumb peg at all, but what I did do was get my knuckle deeper, and you can see right there where that oval comes in. See where my knuckle is. To get it to where I want to draw, you kind of need that oval so I'm not smashing my knuckle into that, into the circle there, if it were a circle. So that's why it is shaped the way that it is, so that you can draw either way. And I found it to be pretty comfortable. Now, you will notice here, I'm going to have an adjustable finger on the end there. Just come to the bottom here. If I loosen this, then I can position this finger forward. I have it all the way swept back. I can push it forward and lock it in anywhere I want. Basically what that's doing is changing the leverage of this release. If I sweep this forward, then obviously my third finger is going to have more leverage in getting this release to rotate. And then you are going to have a little extension off here that gives you a place, if you want to rest your pinky, to make it sort of feel like a 4-finger release, but not really. Just an extra place if you want to rest your pinky there. Sometimes people are like, I'm not sure what to do with my pinky on this, but that gives you a spot to put it. Now, coming up to the head here. So, got some cool features with this release as well. This has built into it what Stan calls the clutch. So, if you look in here, you're going to see this moon. You're going to see one dot right into the middle, right in the middle of that moon. That single dot, what that tells me is that currently I have this moon with the fast click. The medium click's going to have 2 dots. The slow click is going to be the other side of this moon. It's going to have 3 dots. And then the one that has no click, it's going to have no dots. So what the clutch does is, first you're going to have a lock screw right here for your the control screw. So I loosen that, I've loosened it already. And then I'm going to come into the back here. Now you can see right in through here, that is where I am controlling this release. So when I loosen that, now this is how I'm going to make my adjustments on the moon. Obviously, I want to pivot that moon to change the position of, how much rotation it takes to get this release to fire. Well, you can see I have loosened it. What do we all hate about moons in releases is that when you loosen whatever's holding it in place, then that thing is free floating. And it's almost like if it slips too much, now you don't know where you started from. How do I get back to where I was if I just want to make a small adjustment? So the STAN has what they call a clutch. So this is now loose. So I do adjust it by my finger, but you can see, it'll be difficult to show you, but I can make very small adjustments. See, I just moved it there. Moved it, but it's not free floating. So it's not going to fall anywhere. I just make small movements with my finger and I get that moon to sit wherever I want. That's that clutch feature. It's going to hold it, so when you make a move, it's going to stay there. That is awesome if you've ever played with other releases that don't have that feature. And so you say, well, there's micro drives. Well, yeah, that adds cost to the release. Remember, this is a $200 Hinge release, and there's one cost savings right there without making it inconvenient. You can still make those micro small adjustments and not have to worry about it moving. And then you're going to come back, lock the clutch drive screw back down, lock the locking screw right there, and now nothing's going to move. Then to change the moon. So I'm going to take 2 turns out of this drive screw. When I do that, that will allow me to pull out this dowel right here. This is the axle. And you can see, once I take that axle out, the head comes off, the moon comes out, so I can change moons, put everything back, plug that dowel back in there, and lock it down. So it's super simple to change these moons, and you don't have to worry about tiny little pieces going anywhere. Now, something I wanted to tell you about, because you will notice it. So this hook here, when it is released, you're going to notice that there is some what I'll call stiffness to it. You can see I'm pushing on it. If I turn it over, it's not free flopping. it kind of stays in position. So, and that is by design. So it's not something that you need to worry about. That is on purpose. What Pete Crawford told me is, and I noticed it when I was on the line shooting it, I had to reach over and flip this into the fire position. Okay, when I did that, then anytime the head moved, that hook does not flop free. If you've played with hinges before, you know that hook in a lot of instances is super loose in there. And if you get off of the moon that's holding it in place, then you got to start over, you got to reset it. If you flop forward, sometimes it comes free, you got to reset it. This one does not do that. And more importantly, Pete said, once you get it into that proper position, it's in the proper position. If you have auto return, a magnet, or a rubber band, first of all, that adds cost to the release. And the rubber bands especially, you have to replace those over time. What Pete says is they're also not super consistent. You can end up with the hook not actually engaging the moon in the exact same place every time. With this one being a little bit stiff, it goes exactly, as soon as you hear that click, it is in the possible position. It is as far back as it can go. Even if you do it off of the moon, that you're not on top of the moon and so you don't hear the click. As long as you pull down on the top of this hook, it's as far back as it can go, and then it's not going to creep. So again, that hook, if you feel that and you feel like, boy, that feels a little bit stiff, that's by design. And what I noticed is after a couple shots, I didn't even notice it anymore. That was just part of the reset routine, flipped it forward, and I went about my shot. I will say, in the shooting process, I did not notice it being stiff. In other words, it didn't hang up on me. It broke free exactly when I wanted to. And again, saving costs there. No magnet, no rubber bands for auto return, just something that allowed them to keep that cost down, but yet get the performance that we all want out of that release. Then lastly, the geometry I will talk about. The geometry of this release, as we mentioned, you can draw it a couple of different ways, and there's good leverage on this release. Some hinges I've found that I'll tend to get hung up on, that come back to full draw, and once I start the rotation, nothing happens. That is not the case with this. When I get my third finger in there and just start slowly pulling through the shot, it rotates forward. It rotates through the click and then it fires. Smooth release, at the shot, broke nice. Just a great high functioning release there from the folks at STAN's. Glad to see the Lynx coming out. Last thing I wanted to mention to you was this does come with a lanyard hook on here. You can run a lanyard through this to go around your wrist if that's how you like to hold your release in place. So lanyard connection right there. All right, so that is the brand new STAN Lynx hinge release. Great new release from the folks at STAN. If you want to see all the options, as I mentioned, there is heavy metal and aluminum. That heavy metal is just going to have more heft to it. And then there are 4 different sizes. If you want to see all those variations, be sure to click the link in the description below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. And as always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at LancasterArchery.com.